Welcome back to Look Up Business. My name is SIMBA KIAGE. Join us online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. By the way, the hashtag is Look Up Business. Now let's get into that conversation that we teased when we're beginning the show. Now, if you look around and ask yourself the question, what are some of the challenges to the affordable housing conversation in the country? Number one, you're going to find that income levels is going to be an issue as well. High construction costs, inadequate supply of development land. But then for us here, we are focusing on those three, which is essentially income levels, high construction costs, and there's another one that was identified by the construction industry, up-to-date tech. All these things come back to all the players in that particular construction industry then, making up the entire real estate sector. Now, you like to think that this has not really gotten to the ground. It has. There are companies that are trying to figure how they can come in and plug and solve some of these challenges. Let me introduce to you the general manager for KIAGE, Grace Kiboko. Grace.
Thank you, Simba.
How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Karibu sana, welcome to Look Up TV. Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Let me take you back a little bit. In this affordable housing conversation, is that where KIAGE plugs in comfortably, saying that indeed, if you're going to talk about affordable housing, we are the company to look to? Is that what you are, essentially, in a nutshell, before we start talking about what it is that you do?
Yes. Now, KIAGE, we are focusing completely on low-cost housing. Yes. Mm-hmm. And low-cost is not really about bad quality, just what is available in the society to cater for everyone. So KIAGE is here to address the issue of affordable housing with the available materials that we have in our country.
Yes.
Without necessarily importing, because we have a machine that makes blocks from the soil that is found all over the country. Mm-hmm. So that is the essence of KIAGE. We have KIAGE, we've been making a small machine that compacts the soil and the cement.
Yes.
And we've been around for 30, 40 years.
Hold on. Like when somebody says I've been around for 30 to 40 years, that's a journey we got to talk about. But just before we get there, though, I like the way you say that low cost is not essentially bad quality.
Yes. People
have always been associating low cost with bad quality, so they go out to look for something that might be a bit expensive with the presumption that this is what might be of good quality. Mm. Is that what your company is based on? That particular thing you say that low cost is not essentially bad quality, there is good quality in low cost.
Let me summarize it this way.
Yes.
And I like how you put it. KIAGE is about affordability, mm-hmm. about durability.
Yes.
It must be a strong, durable house. And it's also about eco-friendly. What is environment friendly, even to our society.
Yes.
So those are the main focuses of KIAGE. Mm-hmm. Yes.
30 to 40 years. I want to get back there in the company, in this business. Mm. How have you evolved as a company yourselves to where you are right now, saying, for us, when you look at us, we're going to give you a solution in this particular blocks?
Okay. Mm-hmm. KIAGE is an engineering firm.
Yes.
And in the olden days, people used to compact. There are these mud houses that are made in the villages. So the welder started by doing that kind of compaction. Mm-hmm. But by and by, we developed a machine that is called a standard machine. It does not produce this kind of, it's just a block. And it is used mostly in the western region because they burn them.
Yes.
After that, the question of steel saving came up, and the engineer came up with another machine that could actually save, so that instead of using mortar, cement is expensive, one could simply put up a house without doing that kind of work, because it was taking time. So we came up with this double interlocking machine,
yes,
that could now make the blocks that were interlocking and there was non-use of mortar.
yes.
Then still customers demand, and I like the flexibility of Makiga. Another person wanted to build tanks, and you know the tanks are around. Yes.
Yeah.
So we also came up with a machine that makes curved blocks. So Makiga has evolved to come up with such a product that we have 4 machines actually that uses, all of them, they are soil block press machine. They use the soil and cement to come up with very, very good blocks.
Yes.
Yes.
Essentially touching on that cost.
Yes.
In the sense that you're not just going to use cement, which other people are actually providing within the economy, but going to reduce that cost by then mixing it with soil and cement, isn't it? Okay, actually, as a company, and I know you have clients who look at you when you say, this is what we do, then they tell you, can you help us other than just giving us the blocks? Because you know, when people look for these solutions, they aren't just looking for one solution. When it comes to construction, they're also looking for other solutions as well. Is there any other solution within that particular area that you're providing to your clients as well?
The specific area we are providing, we have Cabro, we have other products.
Yes, yes.
We have a Cabro machine for people who want to make for themselves those small Cabros. We have the fencing molds, which we make, and then people are able to also do production. But basically, we are addressing the issue of affordability by coming up with machines that can help someone reduce that instead of buying. But if I'll address the soil block press machine,
yes,
ours we are talking about the walling structure.
Okay, okay.
It does not address the foundation,
yes,
or the roofing,
yes,
but it is the walling structure that we are making savings on.
Yes.
So this is addressing the issue of saving by 50%. So that's what maybe I'll be talking about more.
Pretty much. So when you tell players in the construction industry that we have a machine for you that is actually going to help you, number one, reduce cost by 50%, I know it attracts a lot of eyebrows then. The uptake so far, can you talk to me about it? From telling me that I have this machine to then the training and the exposition that is exactly what it can do. We've been blamed as a country for being slow to solutions that we aren't used to. In fact, if you look at some of the blame within the construction industry, is that majority of us are still using a very old building code that should be already out of the industry. So when you talk to me about that, the embracing of this technology, how has it been so far, Grace?
Perceptions, but I'll talk about that in a few.
Yes.
Now, away from the machine, now let's talk about these blocks.
Yes.
The blocks use 95% of soil, whichever soil is available, apart from the black cotton soil.
Yes.
And they use 5% cement. Now, when someone acquires our machine, we normally prefer they buy the machine, but if they don't, we still construct for them. They move, it's a portable machine that is operated by 3 or 4 people.
Yes.
Now, let me talk about the building part, because we've been selling this machine for 30, 40 years. We've just recently started doing this in a commercial way. When people purchase this machine, we train. The good thing with training is that this does not require schooled, or you don't have to learn so much. It is how we mix things in the kitchen, how you make your cake, what do you mix, how do you produce it. So normally when we come with the machine to that particular site, we dig from that particular site, the soil.
Where you're constructing,
yes.
essentially.
And that one you hire the people in the area. They'll dig the soil. Then after we are done, we sieve. We have the sieving part of that soil. Then we begin to mix it with our cement. Then, after the mixing has been done, we train on the ratios to employ, because different soils have different capabilities. So that is a training that is given by Makiga for everyone. So once we
and
mix...
the training is based on where you're going to construct, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
If we are constructing, we train at that particular site, but the training in the office is free.
Okay.
So once people have the machine, they walk in and there's someone who will address training from using the machine to building,
yes,
to making the blocks, to testing the blocks, to training.
How long does the training take, you would say, for somebody to understand how to use the machine and the ratios and the types of soils with their particular needs when it comes to constructing this block?
It's so simple. It takes about 5 hours. We start at 9 a.m.
Yes.
And it ends by 2 p.m.
Yes. But what is the nature of that training? Do the people come in for the training end up making the blocks themselves, which then you approve before letting the machine go?
Yes.
Oh, that's
normally what happens is that when they come in, we train them on how to operate the machine, how to mix the soil, how to test the soil, that is the second part, how to mix the soil and the cement. Then we teach them about compacting with the block press machine.
Yes.
We teach them about, after you make these blocks, there is the curing process. We talk to them about the curing part, how to cure them, cover them. There is wet curing and dry curing. These ones you don't burn. You simply water them in the morning and evening for 7 days. So we train them about that. Then we end our training with how to build with them and to maintain the machine. So basically, anyone who's gotten the training is able to do this after that 5 hours, unless we don't, it's so simple.
Comfortably, is it?
Yes.
You're saying that you've never got any call once they've left the 5-hour training and saying, can you remind us what we're supposed to do ABCD? It's never happened to you.
No, we give them a training manual, a book. There are so many reminders that we do. However, sometimes we also like to go to the site to see what people are doing. Yeah, because I've noticed the simple things like how to mix the ratios. Workmanship is a bit poor with some people. So there's a way to do things and get them right. If you're meant to mix it, you mix it completely.
Yes.
Not just mix and throw it somewhere inside. The curing process, they must be covered, but sometimes people will not cover very well. But that has to do with the supervision, who is supervising the workers. Yes. Because I've realized you must have a supervisor at every stage just to ensure that the work is done. But most of the time, we sell this machine on a daily basis. People are making blocks on a daily basis. So most of the time, it's easy.
So just before we talk about even the technology, the interlocking technology, and also look into just how tough this is compared with what is, again, provided in the market, I want to dial it back a bit so you can talk to me about who this particular technology is for. And this is a direct question that I got from one of the guys who saw the poster that we put out that you come and talk about this technology. And this is what I asked. So does it mean then that when I am constructing, the soil that I'm digging off the site is essentially what I'm supposed to use then to construct these blocks, or I'm supposed to get different soil for this construction? And number two, the cost factor. You know how you budget your building, and they're saying, if I budget to buy the traditional blocks, the matofali, and that's what he said, vis-a-vis coming up with this on site, which one is cheaper?
Okay. I'm going to answer you very well. I construct, so I'll give you the practical part. Okay.
Which is even better, isn't it? Yes.
Now, the uniqueness of being told, do a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, do a toilet there. So what happens is that they'll dig out the foundation. That is soil. And we don't need to throw the soil away, even with the toilet. Yeah. So that particular soil is used to make these blocks. We only do away with the topsoil, but that other soil is good enough to make the blocks. So because soil is just free and available, that's how it reduces the cost. We use that soil and mix it with a little bit of cement. Yeah. Cement is about 5%. Yes. So mostly the ratios I have for my people is that with 10 wheelbarrows of soil, they'll mix it with 1 wheelbarrow of cement. And that is enough to produce a lot of blocks on a site. So that is done at the site. The reason that is being done at the site is because because it's near the site, first of all, there is not going to be transport. There is no transport for these blocks. They are done at the site, they build at the site.
Yes.
There is the use of that, the soil that was dug out for the foundation. So that is still cost saving for the customer. I don't know what else you've asked, but I wanted to capture the fact that we use that soil to make the blocks.
Yeah, to make the blocks. And
yes.
they were also asking the matofali, the traditional matofali, which majority of constructors run into, are they cheaper than the matofali?
No, they are not cheaper. In fact, they are more expensive if you build with that burnt matofali. Reason being,
it becomes
I wish I came with it because I have them in the office.
Yes,
the matofali is burnt. So normally, because of the process of burning, it deshapes. It looks bad. Two, it is a simple block like this. So and then it looks bad. So what happens when the masons are constructing? They use like two, add a lot of mortar.
Oh, yeah.
Another two. So
yes.
it's a lot of work,
yes.
a lot of time. But if you can see, may I stand?
Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
If you can see what happens with the blocks,
yes.
once you've made the block, it has this fine, this is a very smooth finish.
Yes.
So what happens is that when you are building, once they put, the mortar is only done on the first course. So when they are building, they simply place on top. They wipe a bit, so the whole building is going up.
Hold on, I got
it's like we are just arranging. It's a stacking process, so it will be stuck until we get up.
Yes. So whatever this is now is the interlocking technology that you're talking
yes,
about.
This is the interlock. When we talk about interlocking,
yes.
we are talking about this side, we are talking about this side. So basically what's happening, the block is fitting into this other one. You don't add anything.
You don't add mortar, isn't it?
No, no mortar. So if you look, there's a book that has been done by the UN. It has compared the matofali, this one, the quarry block, the quarry blocks.
Yes.
But these ones are way cheaper compared to matofali, 60%. Because matofali, you need to plaster. Once you're done with the work, because you need to plaster the outside, the inside, so that the house can at least look good. But this one, you just apply varnish and you're done.
You don't gotta plaster this one.
No, you don't plaster. That's why you'll see a lot of the interlocking houses we have. You just see the finish from outside. You don't need to plaster. So look at how much you've saved.
Which again reduces the cost on, on the mortar that
you've saved on the materials because you used your soil.
Yes.
You've saved on the transport because you made the soil at your site.
On site.
Yes, you dried them there.
Yes.
You are now saving on the use of mortar, which is still a big save because cement is high.
Yes.
Then you have finished your house. You are still going to save on plaster. You don't need to plaster.
Both inside and outside.
Both inside and outside.
If you choose, that is.
If you choose.
Yes.
The thing is, us ladies like to play around with deco. So sometimes, like I'm doing a particular house, we are not going to do the plaster inside and outside. Maybe the toilet and bathroom. Maybe the bedroom if she wants to color it pink. But this works without.
It just works without essentially having to plaster, isn't it?
Yes.
And you're saying the furnish will be cheaper then compared to what you would have done with mortar if you have used the traditional matofali, isn't it?
Yes.
Fantastic.
In fact, the paint, I like round paints because they have come up with a paint for this kind of stones. It's about 2,000 bob. And it's so much that with only two for a 3-bedroom, I did a 3-bedroom, an 82 square meter house.
Yes.
With 4,000, we had varnished the whole house. So the house is done.
Now, talking about that affordability in tech, isn't it?
We are still talking about affordability in the finish, affordability in building, affordability in the material.
Yes.
So this is a solution.
No, which essentially also doesn't mean that whatever you're getting at the end of the day is low in quality, even as we talk about affordability. Because this is as tough as any, isn't it?
This is a very good and strong house at the end of the day. It's actually stronger than all these other ones. You see, because of the interlock aspect, the house ends up being so strong. Someone said, and I like how people ask questions, if I want, can I just demolish this house by removing a block? Can't happen. But I also need to state that at the corners, depending with the weight of the house, we normally do columns to hold on
Just to hold on to the...
Yes.
Yes. How long has the interlocking technology, you would say, been introduced in the construction industry?
It's been years.
It's been there. Just the adoption is the one that has been a bit slow in the country, you would say.
Yes, the perception. In fact, if you go to the central region, they'll say, "Staki nyumba ya matope." Isi nyumba ya matope. This is a good house.
It's essentially a good house, isn't
it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, since we're here, just before we sit and really talk about this, there are two types here. You will say, Grace. I see this a bit different from the one that is below. Could you talk to us about this and this? How come they're different then? Okay.
Now, we have this stone. Let me show you guys something. It's written right in front. What is it written?
It is Mlolongo.
Mlolongo. Mlolongo has quarry dust. There is a quarry, then we have the quarry dust. So a client wanted to know, could they use it to make blocks for the house? Normally they have the waste one, the one that they don't sell. So that is the one that Makiga uses. It is
it's
good.
A lot of it, by the way. When you go to this, that's a lot of it.
Yes.
The one that goes on waste.
The waste, he just brought a sample, we made the block, and then we made the blocks for the person. So the waste one is what we used. So if people are talking affordability, you can't even tell. I had a client who was very particular. They didn't want red, they wanted this. So I told them to get the quarry dust.
From the site they think
but when they go to buy, they go to buy that quarry dust from wherever, they needed to buy the waste, the one that they do, because the other one is a bit, it has too much coarse materials in it. We needed the waste, the soil part. So this looks like this because we've used quarry dust.
Okay.
Yes. Now the blocks take the color of the soil, all our blocks. So if we go to Kiambu, their soil is rich in red, and we make a block, it will appear that red.
It will appear red,
if you go to Kirinyaga, it's a bit darker, so the soil, the block will be a bit darker. Yes. So these are different blocks that have been made, but using different soils.
Site material, isn't it? I like the fact that this contractor had just to come with this material and tell you, okay, you make it. If you make it, then after that, I'll get the machine and then go construct. There's another question as well that I wanted to ask you since we're talking about this. You're going to find it interesting or not interesting depending on how it comes. The guys who are asking, this interlocking technology, is it used to construct story buildings as well? Is it a tech that can be adopted for story building? Because the guys were saying, so probably just for single floor housing as opposed to story buildings.
No, this can do a story building, but I'll throw a question to people because a house, a story building is as good as the columns and the foundation.
Oh, is that?
Yeah. I should have mentioned about the foundation. We don't do shortcuts in foundations. If we use the 9 quarry stone, the 9-inch one, that is what is used. But when we are putting up a house, you can even go all the way up. If you've seen the houses in Westlands and all over the place, then you fill them with glasses. You know, this is a wall-in material. You partition with these blocks, you partition with quarry stone, you partition with glasses, you partition with what works.
Yes.
Now, this works because it's still affordable in terms of partitioning. So this can go even up to the 10th floor. So you have to do the foundation right and the columns.
Pretty much. West, you can actually have a sit down.
Okay.
Conclude. Now, questions that are very, very direct. Number one, the guys were talking about the beauty of the construction of these houses. If indeed I'm not going to paint, can I mix the blocks so that I can create some construction pattern? And number two, how much do the machines cost? Let's address that as well.
Okay. First, as I said, the block is smooth. So in terms of the finish, normally with varnish, it's beautiful. Then I want to add something about the finish of the house.
Yes.
You see, when you build with this block, sorry, I have to do this again.
It's okay, boss.
The kids come out so well. So all you need is to do that. Secondly, it depends. When you want to play around with the colors, it depends with the kind of soil you have. If you have 2 different types of soil, then the masons can play around with that so that they form a certain pattern.
Pretty much.
So that works. Okay. That can work,
All right. So let's address the costs, which is an elephant in the room when guys are talking about adopting technology. The machine, how much does it cost?
The machine currently costs 98,000, the discounted price.
Yes.
98,846.
98,846. And you get a lifetime machine?
Yes.
For constructing this?
Yes. Not even that, it's the cost of boda boda. I keep telling my boda boda friends that while they are making, while they are doing their business with their boda boda, they can still take the same amount and invest in this Makiga machine, because they'll be able to build, they'll be able to sell blocks, they'll be able to hire the machine. So this is a whole investment just by having the machine. But all the same, if people don't want to buy the machine, we still do the construction. Okay. So those are two things that we can address in the nation.
Pretty much. Now, as we clear, two questions that you have to answer in just 45 seconds then. The adoption of the interlocking technology, do you find yourselves training more people into it? Because this is essentially what you're building as a product, as a company. Are you teaching more Masons to learn about it and to trust it? And number two, could you paint for me a picture, Grace? I know you've been in business for quite a long time. 40 years is a long time. But what do you want to achieve as a company in the next 5 years, especially now that we have a government that is stressing heavily on affordable housing?
Awesome. For Masons, we are training Masons every day. Yeah. Especially Masons who've been working with the quarry stone. So we have a need for people, or for them to learn about ISSB. Most of them have a perception, how does it work, how does it build? So we keep training. We have a training department in the office.
Yes.
So all Masons who are trained, even if you are looking for a job and you are a Mason, a very good Mason, and you don't do shortcuts, we are training and we are hiring. So that's an opportunity for Masons out there, because they are few. They are few. The uptake of the technology is also not that much.
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty much.
On the issue of affordability, I love what our government is doing. And we are going to do this kind of structures all over the nation. Because I've realized, and let me tell you, and I'll give you a figure so that you see. This two-roomed house that people like to build in their villages, I've done a quote on it. It's around 300. It just depends with the area. So people need to give us such structures all over the place. We've also done a very big house for someone who likes the technology, but the cost is a bit higher. It's 2 million. But we are looking forward to doing houses which are below 2 million, below $1 million. That way, people can afford housing. This is quite, and I love what the government is doing, and I hope people can take up. We want to train more, train the youths more, so that with a machine, people will be putting up structures all over the country.
Pretty much. Grace, I would just like to end it like this then. Chris, I'm going to stand up. Just be ready with your shot then. Because if you look at how beautiful this particular technology is, by the way, become a construction person today, thanks to Grace and Makiga. Indeed, even from a layman perspective, this is beautiful. You do not need to touch it. And I can tell you, the way this block is sitting right here, you can build even 6-story buildings. That is the question that you had for us today. But you know what to do. You want to talk to them? Makiga. If you Google that, go to their website as well. They'll find those quotations there. And where are you based, by the way?
Industrial area.
Industrial area. Just right here in industrial area in Nairobi. Talk to them. They'll give you these blocks. And then you do proper business with them. We told you conversations on affordable housing will never get boring. 300K for those 2 bedrooms that you're coming up with, Ukushago. Why not talk to them and then tell them, tell me what I'm going to do so that I stick to that particular quote. That's what she's saying. And she's a GM, so she's not lying about it, isn't it? Grace, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
I do appreciate it. That's exactly what we have for you today. We take a break for today. I'll see you tomorrow for another conversation on another area then in the Kenyan economy. Good afternoon.